Jason, at the moment, what's available to keep us safer in our homes?
What I recommend, Claire, for a house, for any home, is an intruder alarm. An intruder alarm basically can be simplified. There's a keypad that you key in a code on your door, and you can have door contacts on your doors, or you can have beams, they call them PIRs, and if somebody walks in front of them when you have the alarm set, it triggers the alarm.
And the alarm then rings?
The alarm then rings. It can wake up the person that might be in the house, or it might alert the next door neighbour. And then if you want to have your alarm monitored, which we highly recommend, and insurance companies do recognise it when you do that, it goes to a monitoring station. How can you do that? Basically what it is if you have a phone line in the house, you connect the phone line to the intruder alarm, and then the intruder alarm rings out, just like calling a number. It calls a number to the monitoring station, and the guys see your details on the screen, and they contact the key holders, or they will contact the Garda if it's needed.
So there are loads of things you can get now, CCTV cameras, you can get all sorts of locks, you have remote control alarms, setting things and everything, but you recommend that most people who would feel much safer if they have just an alarm, and they can build on it then after that, the whole security system for their homes.
Normally if I go to a house, somebody's house, and they might have no security, and they might say to me, where do I start? Because a lot of people really don't know. A lot of people wouldn't be very technical, and I normally break it down very simply. I say start from the inside out. In other words, you start from your own house, protecting yourselves in the house, and you can work out then to maybe putting on CCTV or even an electric gate. Everything helps, from a light getting switched on to a dog barking that they might have in the garden, anything to put the intruder off. But the intruder alarm is where you start, because you can put a smoke detector onto the alarm. You can have a panic button on it that when you press it, it rings out to the guards, and you can set the alarm and it would alert you in the home when you're sleeping in it.
Something so important to make us all feel safer when we're in our beds. And Raymond, you also specialise in fire protection from fire, and carbon monoxide poisoning as well. So what's available now?
Well, Jason's explained the whole alarm system, and he walks in, and the first concern for most people is their home security. But he always asks them about themselves, about fire in the house. It's very important to make sure that that's looked after. So what he would recommend is maybe a smoke alarm fitted in the hall upstairs. If there was any smoke, God forbid, coming from a fridge or electric motor, that would set off the fire alarm. What we do a little bit different is it's monitored through that somebody's going to be contacted immediately. So if you were gone away for a week and you don't want to come back to just having four walls and no roof, the smoke alarm will trigger. And also we have now come across a gas alarm, a carbon monoxide alarm. These things are all enhanced and they can be added to it, and the good news really for everyone now is that they're wire-free devices, so there's no big lumps of wires going around your house. Within 5 minutes now we can give you a full monitored fire alarm system in your house and a burglar alarm, so we look after your health and safety along with looking after yourself.
Tom, the advice that the fire service give us is to have some tools in our home to protect us from fire, starting with the smoke detector. How important are they?
A smoke detector is vitally important in the event of a fire in your house. It'll alert you to smoke within 45 minutes of it picking up that smoke, which will then give you that time, once you've heard it, to make a safe way out of the house.
And I've also heard you speak before about a fire plan. What is a fire plan?
Well, the fire plan is linked to what you do when the smoke detector goes off. It's about organising a safe route out of the house that you memorise, and you know how to get out of the house safely.
So as a family, everybody should sit down and actually say, right, if the smoke detector goes off in the middle of the night, this is what you have to do.
Yeah. Obviously those plans could change depending on what kind of fire situation you're faced with, but generally the smoke detector will pick up early sign of fire, so it will give you time to make a safe exit from the house. If it's simple things like you've got your doors closed at night, it's a simple thing of checking the handle on the door to make sure it's not hot. If it's not hot, then you can open that door and make your way as a pre-planned route out of the house.
So the door handles, the heat of the door handles are important in the event of a fire?
Well, the first thing is have a routine of shutting the doors when you go to bed at night, because any kind of door, whether it's a fire door or a standard door, will prevent fire spreading initially. But the door handles are made of metal, which is a good conductor of heat. So using the back of your hand, just feel the handle. If there's no heat on it, you can be quite assured that there's no fire behind that door, and you can make your way safely through it.
So we need to get our smoke detectors and not let the battery run out or take the battery out when they're beeping and annoying. So we need to keep our smoke detectors up to date, and we need to do a fire plan. And is there anything else?
Yes, definitely. Electrical items, equipment that doesn't need to be left on, turn it off. If you're using candles, just make sure they're in a proper holder. They're not left unattended, and especially not left unattended when there's young children or children around the house. But going back to the smoke detectors, you mentioned the point about testing the smoke detectors. It's vitally important that you check it once a week and do change them batteries. If it's going off constantly, then you might have it in the wrong place. Again, come to us, we'll give you some advice on it.
And the Sligo Fire Brigade are open to give advice for ordinary people like ourselves?
Absolutely, we're open, not just for Fire Safety Week, but all year round. We have a prevention department, and we're more than happy to give any advice that's needed in relation to fire safety in the home.
Tom, another piece of equipment that's very important in the home is the carbon monoxide alarm. Tell me why.
Carbon monoxide alarms are as important these days as your smoke detector. Any heating appliance can produce carbon monoxide, and they call it the silent killer because you can't smell it and you can't see it. But a carbon monoxide alarm is that sensitive, it will pick up a minute amount of carbon monoxide in the room. If you have a carbon monoxide alarm and it does go off, first thing you need to do is ventilate the room. Let the room ventilate, and then have it checked and have your heating appliance checked.
And that's very important as well in houses that aren't so modern, with older people living on their own as well, to have the carbon monoxide alarm, isn't it?
It's very important, yes, because a lot of the old houses might have an old type boiler, an open fire that's not properly ventilated. But if you have elderly people that you know, relatives or friends, check them. Go and see if they're okay. Check their smoke detectors for them and fit a carbon monoxide alarm for them. But obviously read the instructions about the best place to install a carbon monoxide so it will pick up any trace of carbon monoxide in the air.
Sergeant Fox, you're the crime prevention officer for the Sligo Leitrim area. What's the crime rate like in this area?
Well, Claire, we're very lucky in this part of the country that crime rates are relatively low by comparison to other parts of the country. There are probably a number of reasons for that, but if you look at the stats on the Central Statistics Office, you'll see that we're averaging about 350 burglaries a year. Some of those are burglaries of vacant houses. Other parts of the country would have burglaries into maybe 1,000 burglaries in a year. So when you read what's happening in the media and you see what's happening on television and you compare it to what's happening here, we're doing very well overall.
And what can we do in our homes to keep ourselves safe from burglaries?
Well, there are a number of things we can do, Claire. The first thing that I would recommend people to do in rural areas, we have a text alert system set up right across County Leitrim in most parts of County Sligo, and I'd be encouraging them to join that. If there are anybody suspicious in the area, knocking on your door, asking for neighbours or somebody that doesn't live in the area that you suspect to be up for some wrongdoing, please ring the guards, let them know they're in the area. We'll check it out, and if there are risks to the community, we will send out a text alert to that area, notifying them of that risk. That's a huge help. In terms of what we're at here today, an exhibition on security, there's no doubt about it. If you take measures to secure your house, you're much less likely to be broken into. That includes alarms, CCTV and lighting. The Commissioner herself, the Garda Commissioner, talked about the importance of lighting at this time of the year, particularly coming into the rural areas, into the latest safety, community safety campaign.
Well, because burglars don't like to be exposed. So even cutting your hedges and keeping your house sort of open puts them off, doesn't it?
Yes, there's natural surveillance around the house, and it's that you're up and down the road and you're just keeping an eye on your neighbour's house as you're passing. If the house is closed off from the road, it gives the burglar an opportunity to spend longer time there in that house without being disturbed or detected.
There's no need for anyone to panic because, as you say, we are in an area where the crime rate is quite low, but we do need to be aware of security at home.
Yes, indeed, we do need to be aware of security at home. And in terms of keeping cash and valuables this time of the year, farmers have a lot of money because of what's going on with sales of cattle and all of that, and I'm asking them to keep the money down in the houses, not to store large sums of cash, because if you're seen getting that money and somebody keeps an eye on you to see you going back home, there's a possibility you're leaving yourself open to exposure to a burglary.